Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast. I'm your host, Dan Rowlinson, joined by John Townley, and this podcast is sponsored by NordVPN and Saily. All the information you need for those two are in the description down below. John, I've got nothing prepped for this. Aston Villa played Newcastle on Saturday in the FA Cup.
Disrespecting the FA Cup already, then.
I probably said exactly the same for the Tottenham one, to be honest. We did a Q&A on Thursday night, and all the content in the mailbag was about general things. There were a couple in there along the usual things you would expect of who's going to play, how many changes will we make, how seriously will we take it. So for this episode, I've genuinely sat down, pressed record, and we'll see what happens for the next 15 minutes or so. So it's a 5:45 kickoff on Saturday, and Villa are billing it as their special back to the 90s game. I was born 95, you were born 2000?
Yep.
Yeah, so there were many missed references for you, I'm sure. But were you picking up a 90p Curly Whirly and a 90p Bovril, or whatever it is?
No.
And that's it for this episode.
We can't have that much chocolate chat, because we had a chocolate chat after the last Q&A we did.
That is true, yeah.
And then it went into like hating revels, but we're not going to do that
now. You've opened a bag there, mate. Right, let's talk about the game then, shall we? How seriously did Villa take it? Not from a club perspective and what you think Emery will say. If you're a fan going to this game or not, how do you feel about this one in the context of where we're at in terms of injuries and the Champions League race, etc.?
We can't get any injuries. We can't. If we have a Kamara reoccurrence, it's the only thing we're talking about afterwards. It's that's really important. I'm glad that we're playing actually in the FA Cup.
Something different, a different competition to.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know if you feel like, I'd rather have a league game and try and build that momentum again. I just feel like when we've kicked into gear and we start to go on a winning run, it's always a bit of a jitter. Like Bologna, for example, when we beat Bologna, that was a bit of a tough game to watch. In the Fulham game, we went one behind, and it's never a click and we go boom 4-0 against Bournemouth, bang 2-1 against. It's always, you have to go into those moments, and for that reason, I'm okay with playing at home for sure. And in the FA Cup, if we can just win the game and not have any injuries, we don't want any casualties either. let's do that, and let's go into that Leeds game.
Give you some momentum for Leeds.
Yeah, hopefully having won twice, and then you go into Wolves, or maybe having won 3, Chelsea, and you get the point. But the main thing is, apart from obviously getting in the next round of the FA Cup, no injuries. Put it this way. And this is a good question for you, Dan, which I won't be answering because it's a question to you.
That doesn't work like that.
You get through.
Yeah.
But Onana's out for 4 games.
The trade-off being, I'd rather not get through, but he stays fit, I assume.
Yeah.
Didn't really think that through, did you? So Onana gets injured.
Throwing you at hospital.
Yeah. Like Onana. Onana gets injured. But we win the game, he's out for the next 4. Or we go out on Saturday, but Onana remains fit. Oh, God. I'm going to get stick in the comments, but I think it's that he stays fit.
I'll set you up a bit.
What I was about to say, you have set me up. What I was about to say earlier is, we're going 3 minutes, but I was about to interrupt as you were talking and held back a bit. My first reaction to a cup game, as we've said many times, and if you listen to the podcast regularly, you'll know what we always say: get through the early rounds without fuss and then take it seriously later. That is not new information to anyone that listens to this. And I still feel the same way about Newcastle. Like, make changes, don't get injuries.
Yeah.
It is a week till Leeds. So if this was a normal Premier League game, you wouldn't be like, we've got to make changes because we've got Leeds coming up. Like, it's just a normal schedule. So that shouldn't really have an impact. And don't want to get Onana injured, don't want to get Konsa injured, so rest them. But we know players can get injured in training. They could stay fit and both get injured against Leeds. So it's should that really be part of the thinking anyway? I don't know.
Yeah, I would be shocked if Emery... I don't know. I
think if everybody was fit now, you'd see a few changes, but you'd still see a couple of big hitters in there because you'd want to progress. But because we're already so depleted in the middle, to get any more, if you do lose a Rodgers or a Konsa or somebody else that's massively important, again, I still believe in the team because I've said it all along, but any more, and we're really kind of going to be struggling a lot.
I hate that in 5 minutes we haven't actually said, I'm looking forward to the game to get through in the FA Cup. For me, and maybe for you as well, for other people, it is that I can't get around that we know what the priorities are for us. The priority in the FA Cup, the FA Cup only becomes a priority for me once you start to get into
this one.
Yeah, I mean, Possibly. I mean, last season, I believe Cardiff at home was the 5th round game for us because we'd beaten Spurs and West Ham. And when we got Cardiff at home, it was like, oof, if we win that, what are we, one game away then from?
Then it was Preston, then it was the.
Was that right? So there we go. So you can see it's there, like it's there in front of you. If you can get through this round, so if we were to get through Newcastle, suddenly that's when I would look at it and think, oh, hold on.
Yeah, if you get a favourable draw.
One of the teams, exactly. If you get another Championship team at home that got relegated to League One, then crack on. You're one game away from winning another to get to Wembley. You can see the.
You have to take this seriously to get that, right?
Yeah, and it's there now, but we're so far away from that still. 90 minutes is a long time in itself, let alone a game after that. So just kind of carrying out there, don't expect us to be saying, yeah, we need to win this game, hook or by crook. And if this means 2 players get injured for the rest of the season, doesn't matter. I don't believe that. I think it does matter.
I won't be saying that post-match.
Because equally, if we win and have a couple of injuries or one injury, we might not win the next FA Cup match that we play because of that injury. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It is really important that we keep our squad fresh for this game, in my opinion. And the team that we play, I think it's an opportunity for some players to also stake a claim, freshen up a little bit. I'd like to see Alisson play. And it'll be the same for Newcastle as well. I think they'll maybe without Guimaraes again, which would be good for us.
I think they'll take this more seriously than we will, would be my gut feeling.
Possibly, but they're depleted as well. And I speak to my dad about it.
Can they get into a decent enough European competition?
Well, they've been knocked out the Carabao. They've been knocked out the Carabao, and they're going to Karabag to play in the Champions League playoff knockouts soon.
They should get through.
If they, and obviously in the Premier League, they're only a few points away from European positions. I think that would be the target for them, Europe again. Yeah. It's like us. It's the same sort of thing. They've obviously won their trophy last season, so it's less of a hoodoo as such that they've won the trophy. And albeit Carabao Cup.
But if the best thing they can do in the league is Europa League, and FA Cup gets you that anyway, back-to-back silverware, go as far as you can in the Champions League and win the FA Cup, but finish 10th. Newcastle fans would take that, I think.
Yeah, again, I look at their squad and I think, well, Jacob Ramsey could be coming back to Villa. Well, he will be coming back to Villa Park, but will he even start? I only question that because they've got some injuries already. Firstly, he would have to start if it's a game that they'd want to. If it's a cup final, he would be starting, of course, because they have some injuries and he's playing quite well. But equally, they can't afford to miss him or some other players as well, for that matter. So it will be interesting to see how Watt's team, either manager, both managers field. I think this game could go one of two ways. It'll either be the captains shake hands and say, if we don't touch your players, you don't touch ours. Like let's get out of this unscathed. Or will it just be an end-to-end, like kamikaze football, just chaos? Because
we won't want that.
I don't mean in like an aggressive, like punch-up way. More just go for it. Why not? FA Cup fever under the lights. Yeah, because it doesn't feel like there's much pressure on this game for me, and that's why I quite like it. It's a bit of a light relief. I think the FA Cup isn't. I know if we get knocked out,
that sounds so disrespectful, but I know exactly what you mean.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot going on for us this season, and if we get knocked out, we will be disappointed. But equally, we've got a lot to play for this season. Most campaigns, when we got knocked out in the FA Cup in the 3rd round, another season of no silverware. That's not the case for us this season. Even last season, knocked out the FA Cup, no silverware, because we weren't going to win the Champions League. And I think we might have even been knocked out by the time that we played that semi-final against Palace. But you get my point. What we're playing for in the FA Cup, it is and it sounds stupid, but it's the FA Cup. It's not just the silverware. We can win the silverware for the Europa League as well. And if you like our thoughts on Europa League versus FA Cup, you can go back to the last Q&A.
He's getting good at this John Townley lad. I don't know. I don't want it to appear disrespectful, but I like the thing of like this feeling different that, the last few weeks of the slog of the Premier League, checking what Chelsea are up to.
The FA Cup's supposed to be exciting as well, isn't it? That's part of it.
Different. Well, I absolutely want us to win. Obviously, I'm not suggesting we throw the game and play 11 kids. Obviously not. But I don't want to see Conser here. I don't want to see Rodgers particularly.
Go on, give us your lineup then.
I'm supposed to ask the questions. Either keeper, to be honest. I don't really mind.
I think it'll be Bizzot.
Bogard right back again, because Cash will be out. I'm not sure he'd have played anyway, to be perfectly honest. Lindelof, Mings, Dean, Barkley, Louise, Alisson, Bailey, Buendia, Tammy. That's a full change. And I don't think it'll be that many.
It's never 11 changes,
Nah.
is it? So,
Louise was in there still, and Brenda.
No, true. Yeah, she's not. There you go.
Maybe Martinez, that's 4.
You're fine then. There's your team, everyone.
I think there'll be 4 or 5 changes.
That would be... I'd field a similar team. I can imagine Emery will still probably start Morgan Rogers. I think he might. I do. I think he'll probably still start Konsa.
Oh, those are the 2 I'd just
I just
get your feet up, lads. Don't worry about it. Comes back to what I said before. If this was a midweek fixture and it was crammed in there and other teams aren't playing because they've already been knocked out, it'd be like, okay, this is extra games for us. As far as I'm aware, off the top of my head, all of our Champions League rivals are still in the FA Cup anyway, so they're all playing. But it's the Saturday to Saturday thing, so you wouldn't make changes for an ordinary Saturday to Saturday. So the competition shouldn't be a factor, really.
But we can't.
Well like that.
Yeah, it's because whether you want to hear it from us or not, you can hear it from Emery. He's going to make some change. He didn't make that many changes for the Tottenham game. I would say that.
Any different because that was away?
But that's what I was going to say. I think that was because it was away, and Emery, albeit Spurs are crap, really, in consideration of who they've got in the team. Emery, I think, still viewed that as if we field a weak team, we might get done a little bit, and that obviously didn't happen. We won. So for the Newcastle game, I definitely expect changes. I'd want to see some changes, and it's not just the injury side. I want to see Bailey get a bit of form, and I feel like, again, this game mentally for the players, they want to get through in the FA Cup. Of course they do. They went to Wembley, or most of them went to Wembley last season. But at the same time, I do think the pressure is off a little bit. They're not playing for the bread and butter 3 points. And like us fans, it's, what did Man United do? What did Chelsea do? What did Liverpool do? Who have we got next week? How does that work? Like those different things, and all the permutations, blah, blah, blah. This, like a knockout, and like any other knockout game, is just win. That's all you got to do. Just win, or get through in any which way. So for the players, I think there's less pressure because of different reasons. And for that reason, I think it would allow them to express themselves. Bailey, for example, I think can probably work his way into form in this game rather than playing Leeds, and that be the game that he stepped up. I think he did well off the bench, to be fair, against Brighton. But, the point I'm trying to make. Alisson as well, less pressure. If he gives the ball away, I don't think the crowd would be moaning and like, as we saw against Brighton. I think it's sort of a different reaction. One of maybe like, kind of go again. So, yeah, I'd like to see changes. Tammy as well starting. If he gets a couple of goals, okay, well then you've got a conversation, haven't you, for the Leeds match?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think for different reasons, happy for new players to come in.
I think we'll make a couple of changes. They'll make a couple of changes. I do think they'll prioritise the FA Cup as a greater target this season than we will. Because like you said, I don't think they're going to win the Champions League. I think we could win the Europa League, so we'll go further in that than they do in their European competition. They're already out of the Carabao. They'll want back-to-back silverware. They've had a taste of it, so they'll want it again. I know what you're saying, like they've got over the hoodoo, but winning breeds winning. They'll want another one, like absolutely. I don't think they can get into the Champions League through league position this year, so the best they can do is Europa League, in my opinion, and this is a route to that as well. So I think they'll take it seriously, but you're right that they've also got injuries and they will want to go into the Champions League for prize money and stuff as well. So I can't imagine both teams going hell for leather here.
Possibly. Newcastle's away form. I mean, obviously they beat Spurs, but aside from that,
who doesn't?
Well, exactly. Like genuine, it's not even a thing anymore. But before that, they played 2, 4, 6, 8. So before that, they won 1 of 8 games, I believe, away from home, and that was at Burnley. I think we'll be okay to get through. And of course, we will have options on the bench. I think that's also an important thing. We can start with a deemed weaker team, but then you do have options that can come into the game, more regular starters. And if I'm not mistaken, that West Ham game in the Cup, did we not score 2 late goals in that? Because Paquetá scored early, didn't he?
Yes.
And I think it was a Nana and a Rogers. I don't know if they came off the bench. I don't think they did. But still, at the whole end, night game, FA Cup, less pressure. I don't know. There's something about it that just it feels good. And I think we can use that to advantage again on Saturday.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a quick score prediction. This has been a kind of unfiltered chat more so than any kind of proper preview, but it's one of them things. We've just done an hour-long Q&A and I need to go put my son to bed. So
I'm weirdly 3-0 Villa.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm not laughing as in like, oh, you're an idiot. But wasn't expecting that.
What are we laughing at then?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy with I was thinking you're an idiot. Yeah, there I said it. I don't know. 2-1 Villa. Tighter than you think.
Okay.
Right, that'll do for this episode. John, thanks for your time. As per, get your score predictions and your thoughts and vibes ahead of the game, I suppose, down in the comments below. Keen to see what people think. I am fully aware there will be people that are bang up for the FA Cup, only competition we haven't seen us win, respect it more. Absolutely fine. I agree with some of those points. And there'll be others that say, make 11 changes, no more injuries, don't really care.
Can I quickly say
I think there is a middle ground, though, and I think that's where I am, somewhere in between the two.
I was... Because after our pre-Tottenham one, I believe. I think it was pre-Tottenham. A lot of the comments, and I was surprised, were actually... Because we started that by saying, like, we feel a bit like worried here that we're going to get battered, but we're not too fussed. If we get through, that's great. But if we don't, it's not season defining. And a lot of the comments I think are regretting. There might be some people saying, oh, what a load of... Fine, you can turn off if you like. It's okay. But I was surprised to see that many people agree, because usually it is... There's a lot of pushback. I don't know if something's changed in the last year or something, or people have been kind of infected by Emery, saying that the FA Cup, we respect it, but it is what it is. I just expect a bit more pushback. That's all.
Yeah. I don't know whether it'll be different this time because we're around further in.
Maybe.
Or we're at home this time, or we're away then, or whatever. I don't know. Again, I'm keen to see what people think, and as always with these things, there's no right or wrong necessarily. We'll all be buzzing if we win. But if we do get a serious injury to somebody important, that will massively taint it. And that's what we'll all be hoping for. If anyone goes down with an injury, you'll be, worried. So, yeah. Right, that'll do. John, thanks for your time as always. Thank you for watching along or listening. Get involved in the comments, and we'll see you on Saturday night for the post-match.